right, 3, 2, 1, episode 5. Guests aren't ignoring you, you're ignoring them. So guys, we got to have a conversation. And before we get into it, I just want to say this. What I'm about to talk about, I've made these mistakes myself. Not once, not twice, but dozens of times. And I don't want you making these same mistakes. I've been doing this for, it's going to be going on 17 years now. And do you think I made all the mistakes? No, I still got more mistakes to make. But I say this from the kindness of my heart. I'm not here to point fingers and bash and, talk like I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So I want to get this out in the open before this episode starts. My goal for this episode is for you to get 1, 2, maybe 3 aha moments for you to start doing and changing with your social media content and your overall marketing strategy that's going to help your restaurant grow. So let's talk about this because I see a lot of restaurants out there marketing with these very generic offers. And what's happening is they're getting tons of complaints. Take me off your email lists. Take me off your SMS text lists. Your information is irrelevant. Like that is a death sentence to a restaurant because what do you have that's different from your competitors? It's your reputation. We really need to start to think about that before we start putting our messaging out there because especially if you're a restaurant that has a big email list or a big following or, you have a few thousand people on a text list, like you send out the wrong message, there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. So the one thing I want you guys to focus in on is spend some extra time with your offers. Your offers are everything. Everything. If you don't have a strong offer that's relevant to your audience and your guests, it's going to fall on deaf ears. It's going to be a lot of wasted time, money, and energy spent. And you're probably going to blame it on either your marketing person or your guests, right? You're never going to blame yourself for it. I'm telling you right now, start to take ownership of the offers that you are putting out to your audience to make sure that it's something that's going to hit. And we'll get into how we can structure better offers a little bit later. But too many restaurants are using these generic offers or they're doing what their competitors are doing down the street. And it's pretty lazy, if you ask me. The other thing I want you guys to understand is the more emails you send, the more texts you send, the more posts you put out on social media is not going to bring in more business. The two do not equal each other. So you really have to think about the frequency of posts and offers that are going out. I'll give you a quick example. I have a restaurant client that has an email campaign that goes out once a month, the beginning of the month. It's a newsletter. It kind of puts everything in one beautiful consolidated message and it crushes. I have another restaurant that's putting out 2 SMS text blasts a week, 2 email blasts a week. And what's happening? We're getting replies like, take me off your list immediately. What's happening is we're saturating our lists. We're crushing our lists. We're think of it this way. We are exhausting our guests or the people that are on those lists to the point where they're not even interested anymore. So that is like the worst case scenario. That's every restaurant's nightmare. So I want to make it very clear that just because you're posting 4 or 5, 6 times, or you think posting 4 or 5 or sending multiple messages out per month is going to hit and make everything increase your revenue. It's not. Okay? The one thing that you need to pay attention to is the relevancy of your offers. And again, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but if you have messaging going out that isn't relevant to the guests or clients that you're hosting or treating or serving, it is a complete disconnect and a complete waste of money, in my opinion. Whether you're hiring a team or you're spending money on paid ads, if your messaging isn't relevant, it's garbage. So I love when I hear people say, people hate marketing. They don't necessarily hate marketing. I love getting marketed to. I really do. Maybe because I'm in the space and I analyze everything and I'm constantly paying attention to what triggered me or what triggers guests or clients to make a buying decision. But I love being marketed to. What I don't like is being marketed to with irrelevant information. That's when I'm pissed. That's when I hit skip. That's when I hit ignore. That's when I hit get off. I want off of this list. Because you could tell if there's no effort involved. Can you imagine if you put minimal effort into the dish that you were making for a guest or the product that you were serving and expected to get a 5-star review out of that or expected them to refer you to friends and family? Think about that. And think about you being on the other side of that. Think about you receiving that. How would you feel? It's one of those things, man. And I don't want to go too far off the tangent here, but I have lived my life. I'm going to be 45 next week. I've lived my life to date by one simple rule. And you know what the rule is? The golden one. The golden one. And I don't know, maybe you don't know what the golden rule is. I'm assuming most of you guys do. But if you don't, the golden rule is simply don't do to others that you wouldn't want done to you. That's it. It's a very simple rule and it's a very simple philosophy. So when I'm working for a client or I'm with friends and family or, people always say you got the angel on your shoulder and the devil on your shoulder at all times. They're both talking constantly, especially in my big old head. But I have to find the strength to say to myself when I start rearing off in the wrong direction is, would I want this done to me? And how would I feel if it was done to me? I think that's it. You start catching yourself and being more self-aware with that kind of stuff, and you start living your life by the golden rule and running your business by the golden rule, it's going to change everything, guys. I know it sounds like you're in elementary school right now, but I tell you, this rule has proven a really successful 17-year career of mine being I can't say self-made business owner, but I've had a lot of help over the years. But as a business owner for over 16 years now, going on 17, that golden rule has proven positive results over and over again. All right, so how do we fix this? How do we create stronger offers? How do we adjust our frequency? How do we get our marketing messaging to actually hit, grab, and convert, right? Well, it starts from planning. And one of the things that I think a lot of restaurant owners skip is the planning of it. Think of it like this. How can you start a service without prep? It would be a complete disaster, wouldn't it? So I want you to think about that for a second. And I want you to think about, am I planning my marketing as deeply as I'm planning and prepping for tonight's service, right? That's the key. So what's the first step? Understanding your customers. I mean, inside and out. I'm not talking about demographics. I'm not talking about like age and uh, male or female or that lives in a 20-mile radius. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, that's all necessary. Your demographics are like, duh, right? No brainers. I'm talking about what makes people buy. What are people's psychographics? Why do they wear the Chanel purse? Why do they have the Gucci shoes on? Why do they wear Reeboks? Why do they wear Nike? Why do they like Apple over Android? Like, I want to know what makes people tick. And when you start to do that kind of deep work, then you start to understand your guests way more than they know themselves. That's when you start creating and thinking of better offers for your guests and for your marketing that are going to really hit and convert and drive more revenue, right? Here's a real life example. So today we're running around like chickens without a head. I got my son with me. We're doing video shoots and we're here recording podcasts. And we were just at a client shooting and I was telling him, listen, we got fall coming up. We got football season coming up. We got to start thinking of our offers for the season. Right. And it was funny. These 3 women came in and they were about to order. And the owner goes, here, ladies, let me ask you guys, because I see you guys in here a lot. Like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer like a package / value meal, or would you prefer something else? Right. And we were talking about like bundling a couple pies and soda and wings. And they were like, oh, that's a great deal. Especially if I have like 4 to 6 people coming over, like that's a great deal. That'll go a long way. So like, see what that restaurant owner did? He literally started asking the customer straight out. He started doing his research right then and there. So that's going to make our decision-making a lot freaking easier than trying to guess. Or we're doing something that we've always done because it's just easy. It's just simpler. Yeah, that's lazy and that's a waste of money and it's a waste of time and you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So doing that research and doing that deep work on who your guests are and who your customers are, listen, I would ask everybody that came into my restaurant for an entire day and let the guests determine the offer. Because those are the ones that are paying you, right? So don't hesitate to use one of those email blasts as a survey. And you could do this with SurveyMonkey. You could do this on Instagram by creating polls, right? Simple stuff. All the tools are there, guys. You just have to leverage them. The other thing that I want to talk about is segmenting your lists. So let's say you have a strong email list or you have some SMS text lists going on. And I love this inside of OpenTable because OpenTable, and even if you're using 7 Rooms as your reservation platform, the segmentation capabilities is awesome. So I could go into a client's OpenTable account and only send this specific email to people that dined in the restaurant in the last 30 days. So that message that I give that segment is going to be different than people, let's say, that haven't been to the restaurant lately. So what's working really well is these lapsed guests emails that are going out. So let's say somebody hasn't been to the restaurant in over 60 days. I could send an email just to those people saying, hey guys, we missed you. Free appetizer on me if you come in over the next 30 days. Just show this email to your guests or to your server or manager, whatever, and draw them in that way. So segmentation is huge because if you just send the same message to everybody, chances are there's going to be a segment of that audience that the message isn't relevant and we got a problem. All right, so let's wrap this up. Very simple stuff here. Take some extra time in the planning process when it comes to creating offers for your guests, your clients, and I would spend 80% of the time planning and 20% of the time executing it. It's like the old saying, right? You want to measure twice, cut once, call it a day. When you start to really put that effort in, you're going to see that effort come back to you in ways that you're going to be pleased with. Why? Because you're going to make more money, period. End of story. The other thing I really want you to pay attention to is understanding your audience better than they understand themselves. And if they're giving you these hints, right, to listen to them, best way to do this is to go look at your reviews. And don't look at the 5-star reviews. Look at the 3-star reviews. Look at the 2 and 1-star reviews. That's where people really put a lot of emotion into their messaging. And they're going to tell you exactly what they want. Take that, spin it, and put it to your advantage and watch what happens. So do that homework with your audience and guests, and you're going to see a huge return on what you put out there as far as offers, and you're going to see it in your pocketbook. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you have an amazing day. And listen, shoot me a DM. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode. And make sure you share this. If you know a restaurant owner or somebody in the hospitality space that you think could get some benefit out of these episodes, do me a favor, share it. All right, guys, have an amazing day. I'll catch you on the next episode.